Okay. So this is a story I have never heard. I can't wait to hear this. Literally, Mr. Multicultural here, Stephen. So you were married to a Chinese citizen?
Yeah.
Wow. And did you meet her in America or did you meet her in China?
I've met all my wives the same way.
Online?
Online.
Okay.
I'm one of those guys.
So how long ago was this?
Right before I moved here, actually. That was like 2013, 2012, 2013.
Okay.
That area, yeah.
And same dating website? Or what name? What's the name of the dating website?
But actually, the website was. I can't remember, to be honest. It was the same one, like it was a Cupid website.
Oh, like OkCupid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Filipino Cupid. There's
right. So they might have.
It was in that Cupid universe. So
right.
I can't remember exactly. It might have been called China Cupid. I don't know.
Or Asian Cupid, something. Okay. Fair enough. All right. And so, how long did you chat with her before you actually met her?
Not long. She actually flew to the USA.
Really?
Yeah. To see me. So that was how we actually met. I didn't have to go to China. I've been to China a few times. Extensive, wonderful time traveling around China.
Was she a province girl or a city girl?
Well, initially a province. It's so weird because when we traveled to China after, I went one time before we got married and one time after. So I think it was the first time I went. We may have been engaged. And she took me to her province that she grew up in, and I was the first, not black guy, not American, not first foreigner to ever go to this place.
Wow.
And it was a great experience.
Everybody
actually
treated you well there.
Yeah, like a king.
Wow.
With a lot of, and everybody in that little village was kind of related to somewhere, so they knew her since she was a little girl, and because she was older, she was closer to my age. And it was so weird. Kids would ride their bikes and circle around because they just never saw a foreigner before.
Wow.
And I thought she told me that. I thought she was just kidding. I said, I gotta be the first American. She said, no, they never saw a foreigner in that village. But she had worked her way up, and eventually she was living in Guangzhou. So she originally, and that's why all the family still has a compound there in that village.
And how was the English for her? Or did you learn Mandarin?
No, her English was fine, because she was an international. She had an international business, so she could speak English. But all of her family pretty much couldn't.
Right. So she would translate for you.
Yeah, and we just wouldn't talk much. I loved it. You didn't have that interaction with in-laws grilling you and asking you questions. I was just there. They feed me, had drinks. That was it. It was a really good experience. Worked our way from making 30 cents a week, to making a lot of money with our own business internationally. So that personality, it will be different, I'm sure.
I guess then a province girl that's still making the small amounts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was incredibly smart, resourceful, a little too frugal for me.
Yeah.
That's why Chinese have a lot of money, because
they save everything.
They save everything. Even she would tell me that even if she made 30 cents, which she did at one time, she would still save a nickel if it was just saving.
Wow.
That's bred into that culture like that. So it was pretty admirable.
Yeah. Not really a bad trait, but at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Too much of it could be a.
She wanted me to give her all of my income, and then she would front me back an allowance every month. That was some of the problems.
You know how
I'm a
feel
grown
about
man.
that.
I pay all my bills. I've been living by myself for a long time. I can handle it. But I think it was for good intentions, but the method, the cultures and the clash wasn't. I wasn't gonna have that.
How long were you dating before you married?
Not long as well. It was longer than the Colombian, but we moved. Of course, when you get into relationships like that, and you want your significant other to come back to the USA, those things move a little faster, probably a little bit faster than it should have. But I can't really recall in months or a year, was it, or something. I think it was more months.
So we can say less than a year.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it
so
was
less than a year before you married.
Before, because she came initially, and then we were together, and then I went to China, and we got engaged when I went to China. So, you know, it might have been around a year. I can't recall really.
And how long did you guys stay married?
Not long.
Oh.
Yeah, that fizzled out real fast, and the dynamics there, it probably fizzled out faster than it should have. But she had to go to China to prepare her son to come to the USA, and we were separated at the wrong time for like 6 months, and things just kind of faded. We you know, it was my decision. It was my decision to get out of the Colombian marriage and this one and the Chinese marriage. So that's all on me. You didn't have those horror stories where, oh, they just use you to come to the USA. You know, that wasn't my case. But it was just that I was really unhappy. And again, I think I needed to have more patience in both those marriages.
Right.
And I was like, okay, if things can't get right soon, you know, there's going to be nothing here. And it just happened that way.
Did she stay in America afterwards?
Yeah. She's doing real well. You know,
Okay.
She's doing real well.
And
the Colombian is not, but she is.
Yeah.
She's doing real well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what advice for somebody who wants to find a wife in China?
It's more or less the same, you know. I think to find a wife anywhere, you have to find compatibility, and then you really have to vet out what your day-to-day life is going to be like, or what are your, you know, immediate goals, short-term, long-term goals, and really make sure what you're getting back is the truth. Because sometimes women date, or guys, you know, they're a little bit more easygoing, and then after they get committed or married, then all of the, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't,
Right.
you know. I think that's what kind of makes my marriage here work, because I learned how to really vet Bea, and I knew Bea for years. So I finally, you know, it was much more stable, and we both knew the path we wanted to take.
Right,
I think with my first two marriages, there was a lot of disconnect, because even though my Chinese wife knew English, there were still communication gaps, interpretation gaps in when I would say something or when she would say something that either of us didn't quite get it. So, you know.
And would it be fair to say that the first two wives were very controlling?
Well, my Chinese wife, she wanted to be much controlling.
Right.
You know, that's just not my personality. You know, I'm ex-military officer in the Navy. You know, you're not gonna.
No, you don't want somebody else telling you how to live
Yeah, you know, that's just not gonna work. The Colombian was young, but she didn't want to take the direction. You know, she didn't want to take the direction. So
That's what I mean. She did whatever she wanted, basically.
yeah. So, you know, I won't say that. I think the Colombian wife wanted to control me, but couldn't. And I think both of them wanted to control me, and they just couldn't. And it just put me in a bad day-to-day life,
Yep.
you know, where you're fighting or you're not talking a lot. But I don't have any regrets, you know. Would I do some things differently? But
Yeah.
those two taught me a lot about myself, and it's helped me, you know, move on and prepare. And they'd say the same about me, you know. 'Cause
Every experience is an experience worth having.
Yeah.
Because we learn about ourselves and them, but more importantly, we learn about ourselves.
Yeah.
And what's the best for us, I think. I think you're right on the money on that.
Yeah.
Now, because I think a lot of people would assume that, especially Asian cultures in general, that they are much more submissive. They're much more willing to follow than lead.
Yeah.
And somehow you found a couple that really wanted, well, one, Asian, for example,
Yeah.
who really wanted to be the leader.
Yeah, I think not so much say the leader, but the controller of the comptroller. She wanted to control all the money and those type of decisions, and made big deals when, you know, I want to play a nickel slot in Vegas. I was going to lose our house, you know, if I started.
Right.
That's a true story.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating.
Well, a lot of, you know, there might be something to say that Chinese men love to gamble.
Yeah, and there might be some, and I think she was married before, and I think maybe her ex-husband had some issue with losing money, and she might have been overprotective.
Yes, exactly.
But
it's being projected on you.
And those are the type of issues we didn't quite work out prior to getting married. So, you know, I don't blame. I don't have any hate for my exes, actually. You know.
No, and that's a healthy way, and that's also when you know that you're ready for another partner.
Yeah.
Is when you reach a level, I think, where all of that, any anger and upset and everything else, shows that you're finally maturely ready to move on and find a new partner. And if you still have all hang-ups and everything with your exes, that's usually a bad sign.
Because it's going to carry over to your next relationship.
Exactly. You're not ready.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And you put a lot of that on them, and you know, you end up feeling like you're in the same relationship. You know, if you're carrying all of that other stuff. So everything you had from prior, you got to kind of let go and rebuild a lot, but then you might know what you want more. You know,
And so Stephen here and his wife, they are YouTube vloggers also here in the Philippines, and so we're going to make sure that the link is provided to go check out their channel to find out about their life, because they've done so many cool things since I've been here in the Philippines, including starting a really substantial business, if you ask me, and then of course the pandemic killing it and everything. So they get to walk you through all the different things they've done. Plus they do a lot of exploring and, well, travel vlogs, everything too. So make sure you check them out. Thank you again, Stephen. This was so cool. And I find it very interesting because, well, I've never dated somebody from China, and I've never dated somebody from Colombia from our past videos. So I always kind of wondered too. All right, see you guys again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.